So apologies there for the slight technical issues I was having in setting up the stream as we watched Turkey Boy spin and almost hit the back of, or almost hit the AlphaTauri of F3 Desky, as we're right on board with Desky, as I think he's the closest to the line. No, J.O.R. is hoping to improve on his 117. He will improve, but only enough to go P12 at the moment. I think that is a McLaren coming fast, and it is Rando, but he is into the pit lane. Next I think that's Maxine, and then finally F3 Desky going to finally set his lap. And he will set a 109.7, so not too quick from him, as that is Jackie. No, that's someone into the pit lane, as someone's going slow, but one person that isn't going slow is Randro 17. Obviously going to be hoping for pole position here today, as the front row is locked out by two Irishmen at the moment, as Randro gets to the line and will only put his car so far P4, as we hope to get Lucas Paul into the session, and someone else is left there, and I'll just keep an eye to make sure that they can get back in. Okay, so we will go back to, as Lucas Paul does get into the session, so we'll have a look to see if anybody are on flying laps. Fancaroso is on a flying lap as he goes through the twisty sections, now through turn 10 of sector 2, and he'll come to the end of sector 2, and his time will be 4/10 up on his original, so this should put him into the top 6, maybe battling with his teammate, but we'll see how much time he makes through these small turns on the main straight, as Fancaroso goes P6, as I said, just ahead of his teammate. Next across the line, SJR. I think that was just to start a lap, and behind is an Alpine of, I think that's F1 Marley, who is also about to start a lap. Then I think CRM Doodle, and then Skifan, who's on actually a flying lap at the moment and is 2/10 down, which is eventually turned to 1/10 up. Jackie Gabbana the same, hasn't quite improved, as we watch Lucas Paul, I think it is, also start his first flying lap with 8 minutes to go in the session. So I think that's Owen Curry coming into the pit lane there, as there is a Ferrari who is quite quick at the moment, Turkey Boy, who's set at 52. I think, no, he's only on an outlap, as, ooh, Marley's taken a grid penalty. Marley's had a collision with one of the Haas's, and as the game has awarded him a 5-place grid penalty. That is not good. For the driver, as SJR improves his advantage at the top of the leaderboard and goes further into P1, so Randro's going to have to do a lot of catching up there, as CRM Doodle comes into the pit lane, and behind him I think there's some Alpines, and then finally it is Jackie Gabbana, who is a few tenths down on a lap. Lucas Paul, what time will he set? It's a decent time of 1:08.8. Next, Kofi, 8/10 up. Oh, he's into the pits. He must have had a mistake there towards the end, as one of the Williams comes to the line, and then behind is Turkey Boy, and I think JRR to the line. He's invalidated, so he's just going to have to go again. Ski Fan to the line as well. I that's the start of lap, and Turkey Boy is 2/10 up on his time and goes into P7 behind SJR on a cool down lap after he improved his advantage. Same with Jackie. So that brings the end of this part of qualifying as B4, or B Anders I'm going to just call him, as had a bit of a spin down at turn 7, and he gets his car going for turn 8, and it looks like he's all okay. There's a Ferrari here of JRR coming to the end of sector 2, and what kind of time can he set as he goes through now the difficult flat out turn 10 to turn 11 I should say. He gets to the line, he's 4/10 up in his time. Now realistically this should put him just outside the top 10, but we'll see how much time he can gain as he's running out of ERS. Means he will be a bit slower, may start to lose time, and he will, I thought he was coming into the pits, no he won't, he will set his lap and it will be just outside the top 10. It will be P11. B Anders now saved a bit of ERS there, and he's going to get going on his lap. F3 Desky I think is the same, he's starting to burn now, he's starting to go on his flying lap. Ski Fan, he's into the pit lane, and then I think that is Turkey Boy who's on a bit of a cool down lap now at the final 5 minutes of this session of waiting. Marley is out, and he's going to have to put in some sort of effort in order to keep P2 and hopefully not end up down in P7. The best is now P6 for the sprint because the game has awarded that penalty, which is very unfortunate for the collision with CRM Doodle. He's running in P13. Obviously Psych is in 20th, which is going to be a very interesting to have a look at. We'll see whether or not so I think that's Adgedox who needs an invite there. We will get him in. Okay, so Marley will run through his lap. He's at the top of this leaderboard, so we'll have a look at whether or not he can improve on his time. Oh, and that is a collision from Marley there, as B Anders picks up a collision now after he spins, and he will now actually go to the back of the grid because, well, unless he improves, he will go to the back of the grid because he spun out and Marley couldn't react in time, and he's hit into the back from two very unfortunate collisions from Marley, and I think that possibly brings the end to his qualifying because I've seen carbon fibre out on track, and as you can see there, the right end plate of Marley is missing. So we'll watch with Randro 17, who's just slightly down this time through sector 1. He considers this a home race for himself, Sao Paulo, and you can see by looking at his helmet there, you can see it's a special design. It's different from the old normal black, blue and white, and I think a bit of yellow as well that he normally has on his helmet to represent Uruguay. He now has a Brazilian helmet to represent Sao Paulo, and he would desperately love to win this Grand Prix, especially with Syke starting right from the back, as Randro is 3/10 up and does go quickest in the middle sector. Now, can he go quickest in the final sector? That's going to be the real challenge now as he comes to the line. DRS activated as he gets a tight line all the way up to the line. Randro 17, it's P2 for the Uruguayan. It's just not enough for SJR, but he may have packed a bit more fuel, and he may just about get enough time for one more go as his teammate also on a lap. He's 6/10 up. This could shoot him up into the top 10 with a very good lap indeed. It's Jake Mate, once a pole sitter in this league, is P11. Behind him is Adgedox, who I finally got back into the session. He's finally got on the first pair of tyres and he's back out on his lap. Randro seemed to have gone very early now. Unless he has enough fuel to wait and go again, That will be the question. We'll see if he does go, because he doesn't have much ERS packaged if he is going to try go again. I don't know if Marley... Yeah, Marley is just about out in time, and hopefully with no collisions we'll be able to set another lap. As we'll watch with drivers coming to the line now. Fancaroso starting a lap. There is a Haas of Jackie Gabbana who's invalidated a lap. Behind him, I think, is Randro 17, and we'll see now whether he's burning that ERS or not. He is not. He is into the pit lane, and at best, for qualifying, Randro will finish, or will start, P2 on the grid. So, who can stop SJR from taking pole away? SJR hasn't even bothered on coming out. He's going to try take pole from his garage as Kofi comes to the line now to start his final flying lap. And I think that's CRM Doodle to do the exact same behind. Ajdox goes into the top 5, which finally gets his first competitive lap in. Oven Curry to the line to start his lap. Most people are only starting laps at the moment. I think Rando, he is also starting a lap. For some reason he has a 10-minute lap going at the moment. Fancaroso, he is not. He is on a lap, and he is coming to the line with 4/10 up on his time. Fancaroso, it goes P3. What a lap time that is from him. And that is P3 for the Aston Martin driver. Obviously a podium in Italy, and he's hoping for possibly another podium today as Turkey Boy is on his out lap. Same with Lucas Paul, who's getting actually very close to, I think that's Kofi behind. But Kofi might enjoy this because he's going to get a massive toe off Lucas Paul down the final straight here. Kofi to the line he goes. It's P3 for Kofi. It's an Aston Martin 2-3. Superb. As I think that's then Oven Curry, who's 2/10 up in his time, and he's going to come to the end. Next will be Marley, but we'll watch with Oven Curry. He goes P7. Marley abandons his lap, won't improve. As then Ski Fan, he's 7/10 up and goes P10. Turkey Boy is on a lap. JR couldn't improve. F3 Desky is finished. And B Anders has to improve. He is 5/10 up, but is that going to be enough for him as he gets to the line? It's not, and he will start right from the back. We'll wait, as I think I see a Ferrari of Turkey Boy, who's 2/10 up here and could possibly get into the top 10 with this lap, as we ride on board as he goes to the line as Ajdox retires on, I think, what he was on another lap, and Turkey Boy does go into the top 10. That is the end of qualifying. What a qualifying it was. And that will be our grid for the sprint coming up next. Okay, so we'll run through the grid. SJR will start on pole tomorrow with Randro 17 in P2, Kofi in P3 and Fancaroso P4. Marley P5 qualified, but he'll start P10. Rando will start P5, Oven Curry P6, Ajdox P7, CRM Doodle P8 and Turkey Boy P9. Ski Fan 11th, Jackie Gabbana 12th, Lucas Paul 13th, it's Jake May 14th, F3 Desky 15th, JR 16th. Fan B Anders will start from the back of the grid with Maxime Paris 17, Mr. Crack 18th, and Psych with the Qualiban, the championship leader, starts 19th. We'll see now with one championship rival on the front row, the other one on the back row. We'll soon see if Psych can pull off a Lewis Hamilton-esque race and possibly win the race from starting the sprint from what is essentially last place. See Marley having a very unfortunate qualifying, not only getting the grid penalty but had one of his laps ruined by, I think, Anders spinning, and then obviously something happened on his final lap which meant he couldn't get it in, so he'd only got one lap in, and that one lap was still good enough at the start of the session to start P5. So we'll soon see his pace around here as we've 12 laps of a sprint race to come. We've, for the first time in a long time, we've a full grid here tonight of 20 drivers, and we hope that doesn't turn into absolute chaos with the connections of people racing from all over the world, but we'll soon find out about that as the race goes on. But for now, we have a small formation lap which will be led for S Junior. For the first time, I think, he will start on pole in CTCR, and as the light goes green, the cars are moving and we are underway. What a qualifying, I have to say, from Aston Martin. Kofi has been really good since he came here, obviously reserved and got P4 last time out. Possibly a podium was on, and he is starting P3 at the moment and could well and truly be a championship contender next. Fancaroso the exact same. What a lap he has set himself. Marley does start P5, but will start P10 in the race because the grid penalties are affected from the race, so we'll see what happens there. Same with B. Anders, so that means Syke will start from last on the grid, and we'll see what he can do through that. But Marley will start P5, and we'll see what he can do now on the medium tyre. We'll switch to get all our stuff up, and we'll switch to the tyres to see what people have gone for. So we have most people on the mediums, but CRM Doodle and, crucially, Syke have gone for the gamble and have gone for the soft compound tyre. Very interesting indeed. Syke lets Max and back through. Must have had a bit of a mistake, and we're going to have B. Anders hurry up a little bit there because he needs to get within 10 car lengths before we start, but it looks like he will. Syke is going to try to do his best to maybe just hold SJR on the grid for as long as he can, but at the moment he is going to be within 10 car lengths going into the final corner. As SJR now comes to the line to park up his car for the race. It really is Lewis Hamilton-esque when you see Syke come to the grid now and line up in last place, as a few people have disqualified themselves from poor parking, but this is a good view we have of the lights going out. We have got the light glitch. The reds are going. It's lights out and away we go. It's an equal reaction, but I think Randro just has got away better, but SJR through the gears will keep the lead into the first corner as everything seems smooth so far. Sykes had a bit of a safe start by staying at the back as someone spun off there. It's an Aston Martin, I think, of Fancaroso, who spun off in the back there. But as we watch through going through the Senna S's, Randro 17 takes the lead of the race, and SJR under a lot of pressure from Kofi. I think that's Ajdok possibly right on the back of Kofi as well. As we watch Fancaroso, yeah, he was the one that spun out. It's an excellent start from Syke, who's just gained a few positions there as a few others spin out, and one of them is a Haas of CRM Doodle, who was dropped right to the back. But the dream start from Randro 17. He is leading what is essentially his home race this season, and now has to get a bit of a gap away from SJR if he wants to keep this win, as it looks like Turkey Boy gets by Marley. Marley's having a bit of trouble at the back there. He's dropped 2 places from Turkey Boy, and it's Jake May. Has an astonishing start from P14 all the way up to P7, and he is now going to get right on the back of Turkey Boy as Randro sets the fastest lap of the race. Syke getting right close to Lucas Paul here, and will go side by side into turn 1. Gonna try go round the outside. Lucas Paul will try and battle him, but Syke on the soft tyre makes it very easy, as it looks like Rando has had a bit of a scrap here with Ajdok, and I think Rando is gonna just get by. Ajdok's gonna try stick with it, but fair racing, and Rando is true up into P4. but a bit of a mistake from Rando means Ajdok squeezes right back by. A lovely little bit of battling from the two here for P4, as it looks like the podium is starting to pull away. It's a battle of the Williams happening at the back between Maxine and Anders, and it looks like someone's had a bit of a mistake, and that's Maxine who's gone off, and he's gone off with F. Desky, and he's hit CRM Doodle. It's all carnage at the back here, as Psych as well trying to make his way even further through the pack round the outside of Mr. Crack, and he's up into P13. Skifan and Jackie Gabbana sharing a bit of a battle here. Jackie Gabbana is through, and Skifan just a little bit slower means Psych gets through, and Psych then straight away past Jackie Gabbana and is almost up into the points as SJR sets the fastest lap of the race and is right on the back of Randro, as we have DRS has now been enabled, and he will get it all the way down this back straight now. Can he line up a move on the run down into turn 4? He's gaining, but the straight is going to run out too quick for him, and he will have to hold position. What a start to this sprint, as it looks like the two Red Bulls are having a bit of a battle here as well, and we'll see how this ends up. It looks like Skifan is going to keep it, and Lucas Paul will yield. As there seems to be a bit of carnage happening here, and I think that's Turkey Boy, who's unfortunately spun off here at the back and has lost all his places, which puts Psych up into the points, but obviously not the points for the sprint. He's 2 away from that, as there's more yellow flags, and Turkey Boy, I think, is just struggling to keep the car still at the moment and has dropped to last place. As SJR now is gaining on Randro, and before the first turn he is ahead and leading the Grand Prix. But Randro may try come back at him. It looks unlikely though, and he will stay the same, as F3 Desky also gets by Maxine Paris. On the run into turn 1, and Lucas Paul gets by his teammate on the run down into turn 4. So on lap 4 it's SJR leading from Randro, from Kofi, from Rando, from Twitch Ajdux, from it's Jake May, from F Marley, and from Oven Curry. They're the points at the moment, but SJR has gone round the outside of JRR and he's up into P9 and will start chasing down Oven Curry on these grippier soft compounded tyres, as someone has spun out. It's Ajdux. Ajdux has lost it going through the real tricky fast turn of turn 11, and he is now falling all the way to P16, and Oven Curry had a bit of a mistake there, which meant Psych got through, and Psych from the back of the grid is up into P7 now, and we'll see how close he can get now to Randro before the start of this race. Someone else has spun out. It's Turkey Boy at the back, who's not having the best sprint race indeed, as Randro and SJR and Kofi all still sticking beside each other in a train of 3, as F and Marley has picked up a time penalty, and he's going to start to worry now because he has Psych behind him, and if he doesn't get by it's Jake May and gets 3 seconds ahead, he could plummet right down the order for the start of this race. As F3 Desky gets into the pits for the soft tyres, maybe just to set a fastest lap and move on with his day. Psych has already gained and got within a second of Marley, and will start now to put pressure as they go on, as someone has spun out, and that's Maxine Paris at the back, who has spun out yet again. He is struggling out there, and Randro is now gaining on SJR. He wants to get nice and close in order maybe to line up a move on the run down into turn 4, and we'll have a look with that, as the Psych seems to be too far back to make a move on Marley. We'll still keep an eye on that, as it looks like Maxine Paris has had a little bit of another spin down at turn 11 into 12, and Randro just a bit too far behind. Psych on the back of Marley, but a bit of a DRS train means that he won't be able to overtake, and he's maybe stuck behind as his tyres now start to wear around this lap 6-7 period. Those soft tyres will start to scream at him, and that will not help his charge through the midfield back up into the top, as it's Jake May also picks up a 3-second time penalty, which means that he will start P5 nonetheless. Psych, as if he stays with, as Turkey Boy retires from the session and will start in last. It looks like he's trying to go with Marley. He's going to go side by side down through turn 11. Marley may have to yield here. He's going to try stick with him, and he's going to still keep a nose down the inside. They're both rattling and battling, and it looks like Psych is through and up in the P6. He wants to get as far through as he can. He's past Marley, but now here's the real tricky challenge. He adds it to Jake Mate to try pass now. Randro's teammate, and obviously infamously does not get along, as it looks like there could be trouble here with Turkey Boy's AI on the run down to turn 4, as he hasn't yet pulled over and is right in the middle of the track. Someone could really hit into him here. It looks like someone will. I think that someone may be Jackie Gabbana. No, they just all had to yield, and it's not Turkey Boy's fault, but they just both had to get out of the way there, and that could have been absolutely crucial, as Turkey Boy does, his AI does go straight on and does retire. So Turkey Boy starts last for this Grand Prix. Psych trying to get by its Jake Mate, but its Jake Mate going to do his very best to try and defend this position with all his might. But look at the exit there from Psych. He pounces on a mistake, and its Jake Mate can't really defend from that, and Psych is through. And now with 7. So here we go, finally, now for the final race, the most important race. It is the race. After the interesting sprint, it's Randro 17 on pole with Owen Curry alongside. So most people will be on the mediums and going on to the hards, but the soft medium or the soft medium hard is also an option. Rando loves to go on that soft, and he is on the softs at the moment. Syke starts on the hard. He's the only driver with CRM Doodle to choose that, with F3 Desky, the other driver with Rando, on the hard. So both McLarens going for an alternate strategy, possibly, because both of them have actually disqualified for possibly a bit of a collision. So those guys are going to have to catch up a little bit as we watch Randro 17 as Owen Curry gets a bit of a gap to Randro, but Randro will hold them up. He doesn't want to wait on that grid. No one ever does. We'll see now as they head to the grid how things will plan out. As we wait now, as everyone has kind of got a bit of a gap. There is a bit of a gap actually here. It's Jake May, and he wants to do his teammate a bit of a favour here, and he wants to hurry up. He doesn't want to leave Randro on that grid for way too long. But as we get to the line, it looks like he is starting to catch up just a little bit more. Ooh, there seems to be a bit of collisions and stuff going on here. But he has got it done eventually anyway. So we'll watch here with the point of view of Randro 17. We'll just keep an eye on him. Here we go to 5 red lights for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We get the light glitch. It's lights out and away we go. It's an even start from the front too, but it looks like Rando has got an excellent start, and with that soft tyre should get by, but Randro's going to try and stick it round the outside here and keep the lead. Owen Curry just going to try keep a wheel in, but no, that's not going to happen. Randro 17 keeps the lead and kind of almost cuts the corners. Someone's gone wide there. There's a huge crash at the back, and it's a Red Bull involved, and it's Jake Mate spun out at the back. There's some huge carnage going on back there. And we will find out now, as it looks like the safety car has already been deployed, and Lucas Paul is out along with damage for Ski Fan. Mr. Crack doesn't have any of it. Looks like Frank Rosa went flying as well. I think SJR took avoiding action and went very wide, and Syke has gained the place, but the safety car is out, interestingly, and Lucas Paul is out with it. So as the field start to catch up, and it looks like I think Marley is into the pits again. No, he came into the hard. I think he's going to go back onto his medium tyres now to the end. I think he may have got a bit of damage as well. He has had probably the most unfortunate weekend of any driver so far. Oh no, another wing change as well. Maybe he had light wing change and forgot to change it. More than likely what has happened. And Mr. Kraken behind him is held up by the double stack. So we'll see if they'll be able to catch up in time. The Alpine crew, they had a mare on the first round of pit stops. None of them changed the front wing. We'll see now if they're going to be able to catch back up in time before the safety car is in. It's normally in for the start of lap 4, and Randro 17 has had a comfortable first few corners there, and he's going to hope of the same, as Rando has had a fantastic start. And I've seen that, I pointed that out as the lights went out. I knew he got just a better reaction than the Aston Martin, and then obviously with the soft tyres easily takes the position away from the Aston Martin, but he will come right back at him now. As Ski Fan, maybe a brake check or something happened back there, but another Red Bull having trouble and picks up a penalty. But it looks like Mr. Crack should catch up in time. No, he probably won't. But the safety car will be in, hopefully this lap anyway. We'll see now, is Mr. Crack going to be able to catch up in time? Probably not. And the safety car's already passed the pit lane. So we go again for one more lap with this safety car before it hopefully finally comes in. Does Ski Fan come into the pit lane and serve that? More than likely he should. He is not. He's going to stay out and keep his 5-second penalty. Interesting choice from the Red Bull man. As we'll just keep an eye on Randro, the championship chaser. He is still yet to be in the lead of the championship. If Syke doesn't score and Randro wins with fastest lap or not, he will be ahead by 1 or 2 points going into Jeddah. And obviously Syke has another qualifying ban in Jeddah. This one was for the second no footage warning, and the next one is for the upwards of 5 penalty points, as it looks like Syke goes a little bit wide there off turn 5. But the whole field is finally caught up, and hopefully that means that there is no waiting about. And it looks like JR and Jackie are having a bit of switching positions, but it doesn't matter because that glitch was fixed, so there shouldn't be any problem with that. Randro will try hold of the pack, hopefully not as bad as Syke did, where he got a further 5-second penalty, but it means Jackie Cabana has hit into the back of JRR anyway and has picked up a penalty. Has he got damage is the question. Don't think he has, but Randro, when will he go? When will he go? We're right on board with Oven Curry to see how good his reaction is. Oh, it's not great, and Rando's his was. Randro has got already, it looks to be maybe a second gap, and if Rando lines up a bit of a... Oh no, Randro's hit the grass, he's gone wide, and Syke, what a restart from him. He's gained 2 positions and is all the way up into P4. Kofi's having a bit of trouble. Jackie Cabana spins, and he's going to hopefully just stay still and let the cars go by him. He hasn't. There's been a bit of a collision. There's people flying all over the place. CRM Doodle, Frank Caroso. Jackie Cabana, he'd done everything right when he spun out there. He stood still. F3 Desky also has a little bit of a spin at the back, which is unfortunate for him, but it's absolute carnage. But luckily for Randro, it's P1 still for the Mercedes driver, as Rando looks to hopefully close up to Oven Curry, as someone else has had a spin. It's Ajdox, and Ajdox has gone off with Mr. Crack and Maxine Paris, and it's Jake May is going to come right through the middle of them. And unfortunately, oh, there's been a big crash between Ski Fan, Mr. Crack, Ski Fan Ajdox, and B. Anders. It's horror for Red Bull after winning last race. They have no wins, no points at all this race. and B. Flanders goes out with them, and the second safety car is out in a few laps here. Absolute carnage in Sao Paulo here, and the Senna S is making everyone really struggle here, and that has called Rando into the pits for his first round of pit stop onto the hards, possibly till the end of the race, along with a few who got damage. Not great for Randro. He has to deal with another restart after getting a bit of a gap to the ones at the back, so it's very, very unlucky. But people get back onto the medium tyres, maybe onto the hards, and everyone at the moment is struggling. Obviously Lucas Paul, the only car to retire from the first, but that was what seemed to be a triple collision with 2 retirements, and of course was it Mr. Crack or no, Adgedox, who are all involved in that collision. And as CRM Doodle leaves the pits, we should get going on on laps 7. It's been an absolute carnage race so far, and it may show more to come as Syke is back on the podium. Randro can see him in his mirrors. That's something he doesn't want to see at all. Starting last, and he still manages to get up into the podium places from 20th on the grid at the sprint. And still on those hards that he's going to go very, very long on means that it could be a very interesting end to this race between the two championship rivals. I think, is that someone lapped already? No, we just have to wait for CRM Doodle to replace his front wing. And I don't think he's going to catch up in time, so it must probably be lap 8 then that we will get back going. CRM Doodle hasn't caught up in time, which means we're going to have to wait just one more lap, unfortunately. Ooh, and Marley spun out. Now, was he collided with, or has he had a bit of a spin there? Ooh, out of the Senna S, not somewhere you want to be losing the car. He has lost the car there, and he is down to P16. Okay, so everyone's caught up, and as the safety car comes to the end of Sector 3, it should be in this lap. As we go around the final corner, it's Randro's turn again to decide when to go, and we'll keep an eye possibly on Psych this time to see how good the reaction is from the pack, and then Randro will choose to go, probably when Oven Curry or Psych has had a bit of a problem with deciding when to go. Oh, he's gone now, and Psych has had a good restart. Oven Curry also has a very equal one, as it looks like somebody has had a bit of a collision. Adjdox receives a penalty, and it looks like for the once we've had a clean getaway on the run down. No, we haven't. We've had a spin. Mr. Crack and Jackie Gabbana, both of them hit into each other, and someone has spun out. Oh, it's 3 wide here. That couldn't end well. It hasn't. It's Jake May stayed on track, and Fancaroso has lost out badly from it. But as we watch the leaders, the main concentration, everything seems to be clean up the front. The midfield is a bit scrappy, as it always is, and it looks like some people are having a bit of trouble, and Adjdox is one of them, dropping places along with Max Saints. Paris, he has been quite all over the place recently, but as Psych does get by Oven Curry, and it looks like JRR 33 will get by too. Psych is up in the P2, and Randro has got a second of a gap lead, but as Randro's tyres start to wear, Psych's aren't, and he will start now to gain on Randro on the run down to turn 1. We finally got a racing lap gone as we head through the Senna S's for the first time after one lap after a safety car restart. We haven't had much spins other than Mr. Crack and Jackie Gabbana, and we've had obviously no safety cars from it. But Randro on the mediums, the tyres still seem to be going well for him, because he is gaining a bit of an advantage to Psych, and JRR is just staying behind the McLaren Championship contender. As Fancaroso has a lovely little scrap with Turkey Boy. These two have had scraps right throughout this season since they both joined, I think just after the first half of the season. It looks like Turkey Boy is going to try a Lewis Hamilton here on Alex Albon. No, not going to be the same outcome, luckily, as both of them are battling well. But Oven Curry has had absolute trauma here, and I don't think he reset the track there. I think that's the game resetting him there, which is okay. But he has spun out, and it's gone from really bad for him, as he has been overtaken, and Kofi has overtaken JRR 33 and is up into P3. And we'll see now, as Psych is losing a bit of time here to Randro, if Kofi can maybe start to gain on Psych and possibly overtake the championship leader. Kofi is actually starting to gain a little bit more on Psych on the run down into turn 1, and is 8 tenths up on his original time. So Kofi, I think, could possibly be the fastest man on track here. Randro is definitely showing his pace around here and how much he loves this track, because he's almost gained a 2-second lead to his rival. Hasn't improved on his fastest lap. I think Kofi, who is 7 tenths up, still not enough for that, but has gained a bit of a gap to JRR, and now will be right in the back, as JR is going to be attacked by SJR. You know how dangerous SJR can be, as it's the battle of the yards here all the way down to turn 4, and SJR are going to go right round the outside before the straight is even finished with, and SJR is up in the P4, the pole sitter for the sprint, who disqualified himself in the sprint, is up to P4 in the actual race, as we have just finished 24 laps altogether this weekend, 24 racing laps, and we have 24 more to go as we follow with Randro through this twisty Sector 2 of Sao Paulo. Kofi gaining on Psych on the run down to the final corner, but obviously both with Psych with more ERS means that Kofi is probably way too far back to make a move, but SJR seems to be very fast at the moment. Got a bit of clean air there after he overtook JRR, and we'll see now how close he is to that fastest lap of Randro. He is just a little bit slower than he would have liked, but Kofi with the fastest sector 3 is now right on the back of Psych. No matter what his ERS is, Kofi will attack like he always does, as someone's had a bit of a penalty, F3 Desky, and it looks like Turkey Boy has had a bit of a penalty too, and has lost out in positions, and I think has spun out. He's gone backwards down the straight there. Has he got damage? He is missing a front wing as Mr. Crack goes by him there, and Ajdox also has damage. Maybe that could have been a collision between the two of them, but no VSC or safety car. We're having some nice clean overtaking, or nice clean laps at the moment, and everything is going so far so good for Randro 17, as Psych in P2 is going to try to chase him down with Kofi right behind him, as there's more yellow flags, and this time it's unfortunately again Oven Curry gets out of the way for Ajdox, and he spins. It's not going well for Oven Curry whatsoever since he got up into P2. The last safety car restart that just happened isn't going to plan, but SJR's picked up the fastest lap and he's gaining on Kofi. He tries to outbrake him there, and I think he does, but too far behind to make any sort of move. And Psych is actually struggling here, as Randro's tyres are coming to life here, and we'll see when he will come in for the hard tyres, because that is going to be the benchmark as Turkey Boy and Ajdox come in for their new front wings. The pack is starting to spread, but everything's so clean so far. 2 safety cars in 14 laps, hopefully no more, with just under half of this race gone. And Kofi, SJR and Psych having a bit of a train here, and Psych obviously has the majority of ERS, meaning that they probably won't be able to make any sort of move on each other. Kofi has no ERS whatsoever, but is still with his straight line speed right on the back of Psych, and he's going to go for it down into turn 1. Kofi, they stick side by side. I think SJR possibly going to go around them all. He's gone round Kofi, and with the extra ERS plus DRS, he's going to try and overtake Psych 2 on the run down into turn 4. Who's in front? SJR is in front. He's up in the P2, and Psych has lost out. Kofi's dive may not have done well for him, but it's done well for Psych, and it has made Psych lose out, or it's done well for SJR, and it has made Psych lose out in some state, as I think that's Oven Curry yet again, who is having the worst race possibly of his career. Obviously didn't have a great race last game either, but he's doing fantastic. Or he didn't have a great race last season, but he was doing fantastic just recently, and is now having a very similar race to last race, sitting at the back and having a few problems with tyre temperatures, and it'll be soon before his mediums come to an end. Psych is going to start to try gain on SJR again, but SJR is extremely quick, and he possibly will try chase down Randro once again and take the lead, as Kofi, now both of them will try just save the ERS, and I think something's happened there with Ajdox. He's not had a great race either after the brilliant podium of last race. Ajdox P17. So SJR in P2, Psych P3, Kofi P4, and Aston Martin's actually not doing too bad whatsoever. P4 and 5. They've had a bit of a rebirth in the championship standings. As I go to the standings now, we'll have a check. Had a bit of a rebirth in those standings, and I think are running P4 if I'm not correct. No, they're actually running P7, so it's actually barely unsurprising because they've had a few really good results, but I actually know because the last 2 races they haven't been doing too well. As SJR, he's into the pits along with Kofi. So obviously SJR or Psych will stay out 3 seconds behind Randro. And as lap 16 hits, the lads are in for 20 laps on the hard tyres. And Randro will probably come in next. As Psych, I think his objective here is to wait for a safety car and take the lead of the race. That will be the ideal scenario, and knowing Psych's luck this season, if that does happen, I think that is just a sign that the luck is his way and he will win this championship. But we'll find out as that comes to the end of the race. A lot of people have made their first pit stop. We'll have a little detail on pit stops and we'll see who's made what. I think it's detail stops. There we go. So everyone has made a pit stop bar JRR, Franco Rosso, Psych and Randro. Everyone has made a stop of some sort. As Rando picks up penalties, well, we'll check on penalties too. Everyone, it's just 3 seconds for as Randro's in. Randro is in. Psych notoriously or obviously will stay out, and I think that is F3 Desky who also came in. No, Adshocks came in, he retired in the pit lane. And Randro, I think he was a bit long in there. Did he replace a wing? I don't think he did. But F3 Desky and Rando all stay out. Psych. Oh, it's a safety car. Oh, it's a safety car. And what absolute heartbreak for Randro as he's just left the pit lane with the safety car behind him. I don't know what happened, but I'm guessing it's some sort of debris on track. Oven Curry, no, it was Turkey Boy. Turkey Boy has retired. He has hit the wall. And Randro has possibly had his race thrown away here. I think Psych will more than likely now take the lead of the race. He should be in now for mediums. It's going to be a difficult job to bring 18 laps on those mediums as Jackie Cabana picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding. Psych is in. F3 Desky will follow. Rando is also going to follow. Or no, Rando should stay out. So Rando will stay out with his teammate. F3 Desky is in. CRM Doodle. Jackie Cabana is not in. And Randro 17 obviously will not come out ahead of Psych. A problem here. Ooh, you know, it's actually going to be very, very close. Randro's going to put the foot down. And as they come out of pit lane, Psych is in front. It was so close, but it's Psych who takes the lead. And maybe it is the F1 gods speaking to Psych that he will win this championship. It's unlucky, but it's just what has happened in this championship for Randro. Leading this race. Look at that. Absolutely. So the safety car should be in next lap, hopefully next lap. As Rando goes early, and we are underway. Almost. I hope I'm back now. I think I had a bit of trouble with my mic there. Yep, I should be. So, as I just said there, I think there's no one at fault there other than JRR. I think there was space to be used and he never used it, and Marley has lost out big time because of it, and obviously having to change his ring drops him out of the points, and unless there's a late safety car, I don't think Marley will get any sort of benefit from it. But Syke is gaining a little bit more on Randro now, and with 10 laps to go he could possibly close down this championship with a win today, and unless a miracle happens from Randro in the final few laps, I don't see it happening for him. It's SJR, obviously, because of the mistake from Rando there just a minute ago. Kofi and SJR are through on the fresher tyres. So SJR is going to try and maybe hunt down Rando as Randro's got a bit closer to Syke there, but if SJR hunts down Randro could possibly give the gamble of letting him by and then seeing if SJR can take the win off Syke, and then obviously that's less points. But obviously it could mean less points for Randro if that doesn't work. SJR has shown throughout the weekend how quick his pace is, but as like Randro today, he has got very, very unlucky in the Alfa Romeo. Seems to be a bit of a battle here between Jake May and Owen Curry, with a huge renaissance from himself to get all the way back up into P5, but it's Jake May has used his ERS and just better exit well, and we'll start to gain on Owen Curry all the way down into turn 1. We'll ride on board, we'll switch to broadcast, we'll see what it's Jake Mate's going to try do. He's going to try go down the inside. Owen Curry will block him off, but it's Jake May gets a good exit nonetheless, and Owen Curry spins out, and no fault of his own has dropped a place and possibly two, with CRM Doodle also getting by. We'll switch back to penalties. Again, everyone has 3 seconds other than JR 33 with 9. Jackie Gabana's into the pit lane on those 7-lap old softs, possibly for new softs, as F1 Marley sets the fastest lap of the race and is up in the P11 chasing down Maxence Paris, and I think Maxence Paris has left or has just disconnected from the session, and he is now in P10 and possibly will drop now to P11 once Marley catches up and overtakes him. Syke has the lead by 1.5 seconds. Randro trying to chase down, but it's not happening for him, and the only way something will happen is if Syke gets penalised from the incident with its Jake Mate, but as I said earlier, I don't think that will happen, because I think both of them are kind of going at it. Both of them were diving, both of them were battling. I think the stewards may just decide on racing incident, but obviously we'll let them investigate that and not me, as Rando sets the fastest lap of the race on his fresh soft tyres, and he's in P7 with obviously a 3-second penalty, but 4 seconds ahead of Mr. Crack. 7 laps remaining. and it's Kofi who leads, or it's Syke who leads the way from SJR, who is gaining on Randro, but I don't think he's going to gain enough in these last few laps. There's a little bit of an incident down at Sector 1. It's Owen Curry yet again. He is really struggling himself. He's had the pace, but he hasn't had anything more than that, and I think he's hit into Maxence Paris there, and that's going to be a new front wing for him. And Owen Curry, things go from bad to worse for him. Jackie Gabbana onto the new sauce. He's going to hopefully do something even better. Dan Randall's obviously Tier 2 leader, will possibly be racing in Tier 1 next season, and we'll find out if that happens or not. With 6 laps remaining, Randro is actually slowly gaining on Syke here, and as long as he always sees him, I think it's always going to be a plus, because it means that any sort of mistake and Randro will just put his foot down and just go. But Syke has given himself the opportunity to kind of slow down a bit and gain that ERS, but there's trouble in Sector 3. It is Owen Curry who's retired coming into the pit lane as Jackie Gabbana gets through, and Mackens has replaced his wing. Owen Curry, I think, has he just sat in his pit box there until he retired? No, he's coming back out, so that's going to be a bit of a hold up on that straight there, and we'll find out if something happens or not, as Kofi has a bit of a spin at turn 1 and has lost a bit of time to SJR, as you can see now. Owen Curry's AI coming through, and if Jake may, he'll avoid him. Next is CRM Doodle. I'm just hoping that nothing bad happens here as he comes through to retire. There he is. CRM Doodle gets by, and Rando, hope he does too, because he's in the braking zone now. Ooh, he does, and now has gone straight on to retire, so that's all good. But hopefully that doesn't happen by the time we get here next season, if we do race here next season. As Syke crosses the line for the 5th last lap of this Grand Prix, and Randro has still remained within 1.3 tenths of him, or 1.3 seconds I should say, of him, going through the final few corners. We'll see how much he can push his car in these final few laps in order to get a bit of a battle in these final few. Syke will try his best to keep that battle as far away as possible. But his tyres will also start to wear. Randro's tyres won't wear, essentially because of what time he came in. Syke's will. Syke will have very worn out tyres at the end of his stint, which means Randro, who's setting consecutive lap times, should be able to maybe throw a bit of a battle in the final 1 or 2 laps, and we'll find out about that as we get to it. As Syke, we'll see now as he crosses the line what kind of lap times he's setting, 5 tenths slower. And Randro, that's not happening for him. Marley gets a bit of a penalty, but is 19 seconds ahead of JRR, which means that he'll be okay as far as points goes. So we'll see now as Syke comes through these final few corners. More ERS, but does he have the tyre wear to get through these last 3 laps now?
SJR, he's setting the most competitive lap times out of anyone in the top 4. And obviously is still gaining on Randro, but way too far behind, as JRR has been awarded a 3-second time penalty for more track limits. Marley came into the pit lane, he's that confident on finishing in P9, and he's going to go back out and try set another fastest lap with a few laps remaining here. See, JRR's is wearing, so that battle shouldn't last too long. And 3 laps remaining of this race, and Psych still has P1. You can see his tyres just starting to slide a little bit there. 15 laps now, and it'll be next lap it will finally turn 16. It's going to be very, very frustrating if he does throw away this almost guaranteed victory. Oh, JR is retired. He's retired in the middle of the track as well. That is very dangerous. Jake mate's gone right through. And Rando's hit into him. Oh, that's so unlucky. He hasn't seen him there. And Rando's going to have to finish the end of this race with no front wing. And with a bit of a gap to miss. I think he's gonna get it. So unfortunate. Marley's had 5 pit stops. That's absolutely crazy. But it looks like Rando's gonna come out unlucky here because of the damage to his front wing and his collision there with JRR. We've had 8 DNFs and 9 DNFs and 11 finishers here today. But one of those DNFs has not been Psych. He has had an excellent race so far, and although getting a bit lucky with the safety car, he hasn't done much wrong. As Kofi, it's all gone wrong for you in the final lap. And he's dropped a few places there. But as I said, Psyche's got a bit lucky with the safety car, but luck wins championships, and at the moment it looks like Psyche will win a championship. But obviously that we'll soon find out. Randro is catching up a bit, but Psyche should have it all wrapped up now as he goes through the final corner. Psyche started P20 for the sprint race and worked his way all the way up into P6. He picked up 3 points there, and he's going from P6 to P1 as Psyche wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's another win for Psyche, and Randro actually got very close there towards the end. 9/10 was the gap, but he'll take home 18 and possibly even a race win, and we'll see what the stewards have to decide on Psyche's battle with its Jake mate. SJR picks up another podium, and from starting the sprint on pole, he probably was expecting his first race win, but that's still waiting. He's on the podium yet again. It's Jake mate's best ever finish, and one of the best rounds for Mercedes in a long time. Randro P2 and it's Jake mate in P4, Kofi in P5 with CRM Doodle reserving very well in P6 despite the few spins. Mr. Crack P7, Rando P8, I think then Marley P9, Jackie Gabbana P10, and then Maxence was pretty much an DNF from when he disconnected. So not great with the amount of finishers, but it was good as far as the driving. 3 safety cars this race, and with a sprint and a full grid around Sao Paulo, it is definitely not an easy race for anyone. As we watch Syke once again walk out onto the podium, and now, there's just a bit of a glitch here, that's not great, so we can't watch the podium celebrations, but here it is. Syke wins the race, and with a 1 second gap leads the championship even more. Randro P2, SJR P3, it's Jake May P4, Kofi 5, Doodle 6, Crack 7, Randro 8, Marley 9th, Jackie 10, Maxon's Paris 11th with JR 12, Oven Curry 13th, F3 Desky 05 14th, Frank Caroso 15th, Turkey Boy 16th, Adgedox 97 17th, Ski Fan 18th, B Anders 19th, and Lucas Paul didn't even get through a sector unfortunately and finishes last. So as we go through, race director, doesn't look like we're going to be able to get it, so time penalties may not be able to be removed because of that, but it's been an amazing race. I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.